Welcome back to RC Pilots Lounge, the place to be if you love RC.
Welcome back to RC Pilots Lounge.
I don't want to hear that. Hold on, that's me. Who's that guy? Oh my gosh. I hear myself like 4 times, guys. Give me a minute. Something is amiss. Let me fix that. Okay, let's try that again. Hey, there's a first time for everything, right? I mean, we've only done 130 Saturdays, but hey, it's all still brand new. Hey, guys, in the chat, let me know if you can hear me okay. RC Pilots Lounge, Thursday special edition with special guests, Tom Cogswell with Spectrum Horizon Hobby, and RC Air Marshal, our man Dave, who I thought fitting to have on the show as well as help produce it, which is very, very nice. Tim Smith says no vid. I bet you guys, I think you're seeing it now, right? Very good, very good. So what we're going to talk about today, let me get confirmation everybody hears me okay. Yeah, so good you had to hear it twice, says Brian Chambers. We'll do a little roll call, and we're going to get into this. We're going to keep it short for me is a couple hours. So we'll go probably a little bit less than that. We know our buddy Kenny's going to go on at 9. Mark Buchtel says everything is good. Awesome. So today's releases, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the new G2 Spectrum lineup. And I was using these batteries in my Trojan videos from today. No balance lead, which is really cool. But if you want to know what's happening with your cells, you either need to be using AV and ESC, so you can use the telemetry on your Spectrum radio or have a smart checker available. And I've got 2 of the best guys to talk to us about this tech here on the show tonight, Tom Cogswell and Dave Marshall, for goodness sakes. Why don't you guys come on in whenever you're ready, Dave. I didn't give you much.
I got it.
Sick.
Welcome to my humble abode, my shed.
Nice. Everybody say hello with loads of emojis to our special guests, Tom and Dave, if you would, please.
Yep, and hopefully they hear all of us okay.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Hello,
Jordan.
Sounds good on my end.
Jackson RC, hey, buddy. Jeff.
What's up, man? This is great. Oh, it looks good. So I'm going to give a rip here on if I miss you, say something again. Jackson RC, Ken Sprouse, Brian Chambers, Jeff in Lower Alabama, SEO, Shadow Ops, Eddie K, Jeff's Custom, Barry Campbell, Pilot Jerry, Jordan Dole, Zone Gamma, what's happening? Dirk, Scottabot, Dennis Farley, BC Flyer 99, P51D, Olsen family, Michael Nolan, RC Roland, Thomas Milano, E. Powered RC, Boogeyman Brown, Tim Smith, Get It Down, Jay Custer, Scooter 91, a lot of members in here. It's very cool. Thanks so much for coming by. Chicha, hello, man. Michael Reitza, Aaron Phillips, all right. In the house, Isaac Padilla, Low Flyer, Barry G's Media, Aero RC. Man, we're rocking. This is pretty cool. If you guys have questions, this is the place to air them out. I know Air Marshal's done some videos on the G2 Spectrum stuff, and I've got mine sitting here. I'm going to crack it open while these guys are like really telling us, who better than, the source for this stuff. So Tom, I'm going to have you give the people a bit of an introduction. Like, pretend you got to sell this stuff.
Okay.
And why and what are the differences with G2 technology versus some of the early iterations we've seen so far and come to know and love?
Okay. Well, so a couple of years ago, we had Spectrum Smart technology that came out, and it started out just like it is now with chargers and batteries, and then we came out with ESCs. And the whole idea is to kind of give people a smart, simple solution to battery management, to electronic management. And that's really what it was. You have batteries that maintain themselves inside of the battery. It has a little chip in it that keeps the cells in balance. It can actually even auto-discharge the battery. So if you leave it fully charged for a certain period of time, it will just sitting right there on your table. It'll discharge itself. And so the G2 batteries expand upon that. It does the auto discharge even faster now. It balance charges inside of the battery, so you don't have a balance lead anymore. And it does charge faster because it has a really powerful balance charge circuit built into it. It actually balance charges at 1.5 amps. So that's even faster. Most balance chargers balance charge at about 0.2 to 0.5, kind of dependent on the charger you have. Some can do a little bit better than that, but really it's all about just making it more accessible, safer, simpler for more or less. I mean, so for Spectrum, we've always been wanting to make it more accessible to the beginner, the intermediate pilot, and that's kind of what the goal is of G2 packs. Now, we're still going to have the original packs with the balance leads. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, I like my balance leads, or I want to be able to use it with another charger. That's why we still are holding on to the G2 or G1 packs.
Nice. And I want to just to clarify and ask for everybody. So as far as the auto discharge feature goes, when you buy these batteries or the G1s with the balance lead, the auto discharge is something that you have to determine and set up what interval you want it to do it at. So the batteries by default do not come with auto discharge set up. Is that correct?
The G2s come with it set at 72 hours out of the box.
Okay.
And you can change that. The original, like when we first came out with them, the G1s, the first batteries, we didn't have it set. But now when you buy them, they come set at 72 hours as well. So every smart battery, if you get it straight from us, if it hasn't been sitting on a shelf for a long time, it's going to come to you preset to that auto discharge time.
And I know we've all done a little bit of videos on this stuff with the early iterations, but just to let everybody know, if somebody wants to affect change as far as the interval goes on that discharge, it's as simple as what? Using your smart checker? And is there other ways to get it done?
Or your smart charger to change the programming on the battery.
Nice.
Yeah, so the things that you can change in the battery are what the automatic current is set at. So when you plug it in, it automatically says, oh, okay, this battery needs to be charged. You want me to charge it at this amperage. And then it remembers the last time that you charged it, what you set it at, or you can change it intermittently or before charges or anything like that.
But the beauty of the beauty of this, and I've been using the smart stuff since it came out, and I have not used my old stuff to charge packs since I got the smart stuff. I got to tell you, whether it's my smart batteries or my regular old dumb stuff, I'm in love with those things. And so what's really cool is just like you say, when it is smart. I mean, it's not just like a stupid buzzword like for this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really does remember. And it also does so much in tracking the battery health. So you've got data on how many cycles have been through this pack, if there's been any like excessive cold or heat, like all kinds of things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it'll tell you, I mean, that's one of my favorite things, like you mentioned, is that it'll tell you how many cycles have been on the battery. I myself used to put little like hash marks on the side of my pack, so I'd know how many charges I've had on it, how many cycles. Yeah, and when you're getting to around 50, you're like, that battery's probably getting around getting old. Usually I get about 100 cycles out of a battery, 120.
Nice.
But with this, you just plug it in, and if you have an Avian ESC or a smart battery checker or a smart charger, it'll tell you there, or even on your radio, if you have an Avian ESC set up with all the smart stuff, it'll say it right there on your radio.
That's super nice. So,
so kind of the idea with this is, like I said, it makes it simple. It's kind of bridging the gap between like your laptop battery, your DeWalt drill battery, your cell phone battery. You just plug that stuff in and it goes, right? This is kind of the idea. We're trying to make it as simple as something like that.
It is super intuitive. So now I would say who are these batteries not for, right? Like the purist maybe, or like out at the field. Yeah. Out at the field, you have to be involved, like bought into the ecosystem in a way, or you're not going to know what you're cells are until you plug it back in to a charger. If you don't have a checker with you or an Avian ESC.
Right.
And I got a question
with the
for
G2
you.
packs, yeah.
With the G2 stuff. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sometimes there's features that may be under the surface available, but all we've got to do is an update to access them. So I have a question for you. On the eFlight T28 I just did, I was using the G2 batteries.
Okay.
Is that's not really an Avion ESC? That's just a new ESC that happens to have the IC3 orange plug. Is that correct?
That one is what we kind of dubbed a smart light, but we call them like a telemetry capable ESC. So it has some of the technology from a smart ESC in it, like an Avian ESC, but not all of it. It doesn't have the data wire. Like every ESC's got a little data wire on it.
Exactly.
But it will pass off to your radio how much voltage is in the pack, the temperature of the ESC, and the RPM, things like that. I mean, really, the valuable thing at that point is the temperature of your ESC, so you know if you're overdrawing it or you're kind of taxing the ESC. Oh, it does current as well, so you'll have current from the motor, and then the voltage of your battery.
Let me ask you this. So from what I noticed, it seemed to be like an overall voltage. And I did not see, and I could be doing something wrong or need to do an update, but I would scroll over right off the main menu, looking for the cell voltage, right? The individual cell voltage that I'm kind of used to seeing.
With an Avian ESC.
Is that how so what I experience is just how it goes with the
so that's part of
light.
that data wire. Yeah.
That's right. That's what I thought. That's, I was asking Dave about that, and he said we came to that conclusion that it was, like a diet Avion. So it didn't quite have. It has a ton of. It's got a ton of stuff there, but I did not see the cell readings like I do see when I scroll over on my like 1.5 P51 and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. It's just a cost-effective kind of thing, trying to, we have to take a couple things out for it to reach a certain price point. So,
well, there's got to be a difference. I mean, cameras do this stuff too. I mean, they'll take the cripple hammer to it just because they need to justify the affordability. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
Of it, I thought they were ripping. I liked using them. And what's cool about the chargers, and I've seen some pictures. I'm getting ready to crack into mine right now. But after talking to my man, Air Marshal, about this tech a little bit, like one of the things I think is really slick about the chargers is very simple, very just ergonomics for me.
Yeah.
The fact that it's got the IC5 built right into it.
Yeah. So once you crack it open, that's one of my favorite things about the chargers is it's got that little slider on it where you don't have to have adapters anymore. So when we first came out with them, we didn't include the adapter from IC3 to IC5 so you could charge your big batteries. And everyone was like, so you should throw that in. So then we started throwing it in with chargers, and we're like, well, you know what? We're going to make our own new chargers. Why don't we just include the adapter in some way? And my buddy James Haley had that bright idea to put a slider with two connectors on it, and there you go, and there you are.
Yeah.
Hey, tell James Haley we want the same thing with the smart checker, and we're done. Bucket list complete.
Yeah,
that's right.
It'd have to be a big smart checker, but that's all right. As long as it can still fit in my pocket.
Some way to make it. Yeah. What I want to see in the smart checker is to have it have like your the updater for the ESCs built into it, checker built into it, all that, like everything just in one little device. I think that would be awesome.
Here's a question.
That's on the wish list.
Thinking about, this is why I wanted to do the show like this, because I have questions about it where if I just read, I still might have these questions. I forget what it is though now.
Uh-oh.
Never mind. I'll think of it in a minute.
Well, I saw somebody mentioned or asked, what's the price of the G2 batteries compared to the G1 batteries? And there is a bit of a delta. They are about, I think, 5 to 10% more. than the G1 packs. You can look it up on our website. We're still going to carry the G1 packs. We're still going to expand the line of the G1 packs as well as the G2 packs. And we're also going to have more connectors. I don't know if anybody noticed, but we now have an IC2 connector. So we got a little micro connector kind of along the same line as an XT30 connector. And that's going to be coming on packs soon too.
Now, does that IC2, does it still, I assume that that's the equivalent of like the little tiny EC2s. Does that have the data cable in it too?
It sure does, yeah.
Nice.
Yep. So right now we've got an 850 milliamp 3-cell with the IC2 connector on it. There's going to be different sizes for that. Hopefully it kind of gives people a better option for UMX planes. It's kind of what one of the goals with it.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking in my head. Like, are we going to start seeing smart UMX? Because that would be kind of cool.
That would be cool. I've got some small packs, and then I've got some of the big ones. And just to get a nice look at this, 5000 6S G2. And we were talking, I think, a little bit off camera about how some guys maybe won't be a fan of the no balance leads, but I know my Surface guys love it.
Yeah,
because I don't know how many balance leads I've completely destroyed anyway, being in some of my bashers and stuff. And I do remember the question I was going to ask. So for the guy who's not super tech savvy, if the updates, is there like an interval of time that you can expect to need to check up on updates, or they just roll out when they roll out? Because
like for chargers or for Spectrum in general, like radio wise?
Kind of just in general, because a guy like me wants to alleviate all mystery. So I want full access to the features, and I don't want to feel like I'm missing anything. And I know when I was doing the workups on the P51 1.5 that Cody was still around, and he said, make sure you do your updates on your whatever radio. I was using the DX9 at the time, so you can take full advantage of the telemetry.
And at that time, smart ESCs were in their infancy, so we were having a lot of changes to the DX radios and things like that. So I would say a rule of thumb is like once a month, check it. Normally, I think it's about once every 2 months we actually post an update for radios.
And so worst thing that happens if you don't like catch wind of an update is what?
The worst thing that can happen is we'll come out with a product that you really, really like, and you won't be able to use it to its full advantage.
But you can always remedy that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you just update it, and it's super simple. With DX radios, you use an SD card. With the NX and the IX radios, you can do it over Wi-Fi. It's super easy.
Now, I've got a question about the batteries. Will they don't need updated ever, do they?
Actually,
batteries?
And that's one thing that I'm pretty excited about is the G2 packs can be updated.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that would be features for the battery.
That would be through the charger, or how is that done?
It would be through the charger or the smart checker. So you update the charger or the smart checker, you plug in your battery, and it's going to say, hey, your battery needs an update. You click on it, and it updates the battery.
Oh, nice. So I tell you what, that makes me happy. The idea that it prompts you and says, hey, dummy, it's time to update your junk. Like, I like that. So Dave, Air Marshal, I don't know why I thought I had 2 chargers. I've got 1 here.
Oh.
I know you were worried about that extra 3
that
pounds.
3 pounds, man. I thought you got both chargers. You must have just gotten a few extra batteries.
I got more battery. Man, this thing is super nice. It's a solid unit, man.
It's chunk. Yeah.
I like
it's got that 400 watt power supply. That's one of the reasons
monster power supply in there. And I'm so glad that Spectrum finally did that, because one of the things that's kind of irked me, I like AC chargers, right? I like the convenience of just one box, plug it in the wall, turn it on, and go, right? I know that DC chargers are traditionally, not necessarily better, but that's where your high power charging has traditionally come from.
Yeah.
So I was pretty excited When this thing showed up and it's a 400-watt AC charger, like,
Check out
Yeah.
that fan. Look
Yeah.
at that fan on there. It's like
Like a
Dude.
CPU fan.
yeah, and
that's huge.
And what's great about that big old fan, Ryan, is that even when it's blowing like full bore, it doesn't sound like a jet engine. It's just a nice, quiet.
Yeah.
So they balance the fans on the charger, but not the jets. What the heck? I'm just
Different
teasing, man.
vendors.
I tell you what, I'm just teasing. I got to take opportunities when they're given to me, man. I
That's
got to
fine.
take it. I love you,
appreciate it. I
man.
think it's fun.
I appreciate this stuff so much. So this is earlier we were talking about how you can, and they've made it idiot proof, although I'm sure someone will figure out a way
know,
to,
right?
to be one.
Someone's going to rip that door off and try to plug two in at the same time.
I can charge 2 batteries at once.
Yeah, like I
So-
can parallel charge smart packs.
I love it,
I haven't
man.
tried that yet, so I don't know what'll happen. Don't do it.
IC5 exposed, IC3 exposed. And then I did notice just now, I wanted to wait and open these in front of everybody because I just like it that way. I got to say, this actually feels really good. I mean, it's a charger, but I like that it feels substantial. It's got a power switch like you'd see on like a real nice piece of equipment, and then it plugs into the wall. And I know Dave was super impressed with the capacity of its power output and discharge for a unit such as this. But what I wanted to point out is for guys that do have G1 or
Any battery.
any battery with the
lithium
balance
ions,
lead,
lithium high voltage.
2 to 6S balance lead port right there.
Well, and with the right adapters,
Yeah,
you can do
it's
nickel
back-
cadmium, you can do nickel metal hydride, LiPo.
Lead acid too.
Yeah, I mean, if you
And what's great
really
when you're
want
using
to.
the Spectrum stuff, it knows what it is when you plug it in.
right.
Mhm.
The other things you have to tell it. If you're using a dumb battery, sometimes you got to tell it what you got, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If
Very
you're using
cool,
a smart
man.
battery, G1 or G2, you just plug it in. If it's a G1, you plug in the balance lead. It says, "Oh, okay, I know what this is," and it starts charging it for you.
So links are in the description is what I heard. Anybody wants to check this stuff out. And then Air Marshal, I definitely want you to put your links in the chat or in the description or something for the videos you put out today. You put out some videos on this tech today, didn't you?
I did.
Tell us about it, man. What'd you do? What'd you cover?
So,
Did you discover the answer to the universe and everything?
what is it, 42? Isn't that right?
It's 42.
Yeah.
42, man,
Yeah.
always.
Thanks for all the fish.
Zayboy Beeblebrox in the house. Oh no, what happened? Oh, that's Dave doing screen stuff.
Yeah, sorry, man.
No worries, you freak my freak.
Um,
While you're dialing in some stuff, I'm going to hop in the chat for a minute. Guys, you know how good. Now listen, I've got you spoiled. I've done 130 shows where I MC the chat and I riff pretty well and try to keep up, I think, with it. But obviously, when there's guests on the show, it's a little bit different. So I don't be mad. I'll see you Saturday. All right. Good times. Lots of cool stuff coming to the channel, guys. What a fun time today. I love seeing all you guys in the comment section of my T28 videos. And I got to tell you, it's so fun to rip something like that sometimes. It really reminds me of my early days of learning RC, where things, they were just a little easier going. They didn't weigh as much. You could still just rip their face off and have a total blast. That T28, I'm so glad. And I said it in the videos. I mean, for a long time, the mass consensus on what I call the original social media of RC, like RC groups and forum pages, the mass consensus for so long was that Park Zone T28. And so to see it back in a new livery with 3S, 4S capable out of the box is dynamite. That thing was a lot of fun. I did grass
Finally, a better
ops with it,
elevator.
3S and 4. Yeah, it does have a better elevator because didn't the early empennage have a horizontal that was like Depron foam or something?
Yeah, it was one of those stamped foam elevators.
Deli tray.
And they would break real easy. And
I'll take 1.5 pounds of the roasted turkey. So Now it's the EPO style stuff, which is
The
very cool.
airfoiled elevator EPO. It's nice.
Flies good, dudes. Watch the video. Don't take
All right.
my word for it. Read the book.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, just from my perspective, I mean, the kind of the same sentiment that Ryan's got. I mean, I don't know sales numbers, but that had to have been a great selling plane. I mean,
Oh yeah.
everybody, no matter if they were, experienced pilots, beginner pilots, what everybody loved that 1.1 Park Zone T-28. So I was really happy to see
Yeah.
that coming back as well.
Next to the Vision Air, it's my favorite plane ever made from a Horizon.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's great.
It's kind of one of those legacy planes, like for me, my UMX Turbo Timber falls into that category where, I mean, as silly, simple as it is, I love taking that plane out and flying it. And, that 1.1 Park Zone T-28 is the same deal, man. That thing is a blast.
Yeah.
It really is. It's one of those that you kind of hate to see it go, and then so it's always glad to see it come back because it really was a staple for so long.
I mean, it is one of the best selling planes that we've ever had. So I don't know if it'll ever really go away.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Airvex says the T-28 uses the same ESC as the Crescendo. Nice to platform that thing out on the 2204S. When they refresh the Corsair, he says, I'll be there.
All right.
You can't tell us, but I'm going to ask. Any plans to bring that back? Because that Trojan and that Corsair
were
the always
Corsair.
In the same breath. It really just depended on if the guy was ready for tail draggers or not,
I'll be honest, I mean, it might be, but I don't remember seeing it in any kind of portfolio list in the next year or so, but it might be.
Nothing surprises me at this point. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of, and rightly so, redos.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing the new tech to old classics. I think it's fantastic.
Good.
Nate Kugel, do it, man. Little N, big mouth in the house. Rick James. Guys love the Trojan, dude. I'm telling you. Rick James, you know what I want to say.
Something about couches.
Yeah. Jake Barnes, what's happening? Yeah, you know what? You got to watch the Horizon Social. And I think Jason put out a video today. Was it Jason that was flying on the T-28 video today that you guys released?
I was so ingrained in the G2 stuff, I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, his video on the Vapor was awesome.
Yeah.
That was fun to see it get along inside like that. Bobby and I got two coming. And that's going to be awesome. We're going to fly him in here and inside and see what we can do to break one,
Well, yeah, you guys are in a warehouse. It's almost not fair. You need to go fly inside your car.
Yeah, you got to fly it in your car.
Yeah, sorry, I'm using the warehouse. It's like, why do you? It reminds me of listen, I do try to do grass ops, but I do personally, enjoy myself flying, and I have a runway, so I tend to use it, right? Like, man, we're gonna turn off the ceiling fans until we get like really cozy in here, and then we might turn them back on just for a hazard and a little drama. So my idea, I've got a really good idea with the 360 camera, which is magic from another world, where we won't miss a shot flying the pattern inside together. So hopefully we get some wicked like vapor formations or carnage. Either way, it's going to be epic.
It'll survive it.
Yeah, do you have
the only plane my wife will fly?
And not completely unrelated, but not really. My grave digger, I think, is showing up like tomorrow.
Oh
man.
Maybe Saturday. I'll have to check the tracking.
The Losi one? The Losi LMT?
Yes.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
I popped them at the first hour it was out. I made that happen, and then they're finally here. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I almost said forget. You get so pumped about this stuff, and then it takes a minute to arrive, and you're like, oh man, do I really need that? And yes, I really do.
The answer is always
So
yes.
the answer is always yes. And as Mike SSI knows to be true, rolling loops are always the ticket.
Yeah.
And not to mention only that, but it is always the electronics.
Uh-huh.
Always. Always.
Oh, come on.
Right. Especially if it's Spectrum Electronics, like that takes a special place with everybody, and it's got to be a
What's
numbers
crazy?
game.
What's crazy is it's actually always the blue box, no matter whose plane it is.
That's right.
It wasn't me. What me worry? Every time somebody blames, they're like, that's why it's a running gag, man. Listen. I always take the blame. It's always me normally. The electronics. It's funny. It reminds me of Alfred E. Newman, like what me worry, from like Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
When that's the response. The wind. Come on, man. Yeah, there's wind out there. You got to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Low loops with havocs. Yeah, that was what it was. What it was, I was really feeling good. I mean, the title of that video is perfect. Too comfy, too quick.
Yeah.
And I think subconsciously I just didn't want Bobby to fly it because he was supposed to go next. Nah, I'm kidding. I've never done a rolling loop. I've heard about rolling circles, and I was trying a rolling loop where I did a roll on each side of the loop, and I was so
like
bloody
a square loop with
yeah,
rolls in it or something?
I was so slow. It was still round. I mean, basically what it is an exercise in how to bleed off all your speed by the time you get to the bottom. And
let off too much.
And then try to recover full throttle. You get a really epic, slow-mo worthy kind of crash that way.
Yeah.
Very cool. Any questions for Tom, guys, on the G2?
I saw one question, and I can't remember who it was, but he asked, when are they going to start shipping? And we're looking at the end of the month. So that should be before the end of the month, this month. We'll have batteries and chargers.
Oh, that's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
That is sweet. That is sweet. And guys, you want to check it out. There's links in the description. I'll get you to the Horizon Hobby website. There's links in the description of Air Marshal's videos. That'll get you there. Pick your favorite, the most handsome, the one without gray hair, and we'll be good to go.
And I did something kind of interesting with my the link that I put for the batteries. I actually, built a search string and built a link out of the search string. So when you click on my link for the batteries, it shows you all of them on the Horizon website.
Yeah, nice.
So buy them all. It's only going to cost you like $600.
Collect them all.
Collect them all. That's
so
good.
when's the David Christie wants to know when the NX10 shows up at Pilot Ryan's studio.
Do you need one?
I would love one. I have an NX6, but I think I have the NX6 only because it was the only thing that was available at the time.
Yeah.
I'm using the NX6 all the time. I haven't really used my DX9 since I got the NX6, except for the gripping because it's like a mix master deal. But David Christie does want to know when the NX10 is showing up.
We're supposed to get a shipment of them next week. We'll probably have to QC them real quick. That usually takes a day or so just to make sure everything's right. And everything's good. They should be shipping out by the end of next week.
Nice. So Scott Settle says he needs wind socks. And Dylan wants to know what's the new price tag. So you mentioned it a little bit before. So like just the small incremental premium on
like
the G2.
If I remember properly, like the 2200s are like $2 more than the G1. A 5,000 milliamp 6S, I think, is about $10 more than the G1 or something like that. So it's about a 5 to 10% increase.
And that's because of the IQ is higher on these smart batteries, right? I mean, there's more to the processing.
The chip is a little bit more going on with it. It has higher quality cells and a higher quality aluminum outer shell. So it's just a better battery overall. And yeah.
And I've got my buddy Dale wants to know when the G3 battery is coming out. He said, "LOL."
That's a good
At the end of next month. That's
Yeah. Now this time next year, right? No, I don't know. I don't know if there will be a G3.
Yeah, that makes sense, Jeff in Lower Alabama. He says the 4S 3200 were about $5 more for the G2. And even among the range prior to G2, I think there will be price differences for even C rating amongst same milliamp size packs.
Right.
The C rating will cost you a premium as well sometimes.
Yeah.
So all things to be considered. Skip Built, what other new planes, he says? Well, you never know. You just got to keep your eye on Thursdays, I think. Don't you, Tom?
Yeah. Unless it changes, next week is going to be a big one.
I'm glad you said it because I didn't want to if I shouldn't. Yeah.
Oh, you know already. Yeah.
I'm so pumped, dude. I'm so pumped.
I'm so pumped. It's going to be nice.
I'm
Somebody
so
kind of mentioned what it was earlier, asking for it.
In a big way, if you know how to read between the lines. Schnell. German Spencer, longtime listener, first time caller. What's going on, man? Jermaine, thanks for joining up, man. Good to see you again, dude. Yeah, it's going to be epic, dude. It's going to be epic. Keep your eye over here at Pilot Ride Media. As always, you guys probably are all subbed already. If you haven't turned on that notifications, I mean, get it done so you don't miss it because we work hard to keep up with everything that's coming out in the industry today, which is just a blast. A lot of new folks in here in the stream, which is cool, man. I mean, we do the stream thing Saturday nights at 9:00 Eastern time. We've done 130 some of them in a row, and when we have one of our favorite sponsors, Horizon Hobby. I say we because it's me, myself, and I. I'm completely disassociative. So I have like major problems. It's like there's so many of me. It's not even bipolar. It's like quadpolar.
Quadpolar.
Anyway, what I'm getting at is Horizon is very good to us over here, and they love sending us this stuff to share with you guys. And I'd hate for you to miss it. So make sure all you new guys that you're subbing up and hitting that notification bell, because when the new stuff drops, we're privileged enough to get to be one of the influencers. I am Legion that get to drop this stuff. So very cool. John Graham, no one's going to answer that.
Pilot Ryan, what's with the stocking cap or the winter cap? I thought you always wore a dirty Spectrum hat.
It's winter.
Brilliant.
That reminds me, I need a new Spectrum hat because mine looks so raggedy. I just can't even do it anymore.
Okay. All right.
It just looks.
I'll send you two.
Okay, cool. For Bobby, or for me, after I sweat up the first one.
So
yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Thank you so much.
Tom sent two in separate packages to me, and one got stolen immediately. Like when Amy saw it had the hole in the back of the head, instead of she was like, "That's mine," and she wears it with her little ponytail hanging out the back. Like, you just took my hat. That's my spare, so I always have like a clean one.
I got my T-shirt on though.
Yeah, I got one.
I mean,
too.
dude, I rep the Spectrum all the time. I mean, some people even give me a mess about it in the comments. It's like, come on, man. It's like NASCAR. I got whatever logo I can put on me, I'm gonna put on me. If I could get Arctic camo sweatshirts, I would wear it. Because if it ain't got Arctic camo, I don't want none.
Right.
That's for you. That's for you, Jeff's Custom. That's hilarious. Boss 223 says I need teddy bear ears for my toboggan, or if you're from Canada, you might call it a toque. Very fun, very fun.
Toboggan.
So, Air Marshal, man, I want you to tell the guys a little bit about, give a synopsis, tease your video a little bit, maybe give us a brief summary of kind of what you experienced and what you noticed above and beyond with this G2 charger and tech over your, the early ones.
So, one of the things that I like about it instantly is the massive amount of power that it has on tap. That's it's twice what we were able to get out of any of the previous AC only smart chargers. Now, the S1500, of the previous generation, it was tiny, it fit right in the palm of your hand, and it was so, small and cute. But you still had to have like a 500-watt power supply to go with it. So you still
Yeah.
had this big, bulky thing, even though the charger was nice and small. And, I've always wanted an AC charger because when I go to the field I might bring my DC power supply or whatever, but when I'm here at home, that thing takes up a lot of desktop real estate. um,
Oh yeah.
so being able to get a charger that packs a wallop like that in all in one box, number one, I mean, that was awesome. As I started playing with it and really getting into what it can do. Uh, you know, at the end of the day, it's a charger. So, I mean, did it surprise me? Not really, because I've had an S1100 that Tom has them now, but I had an
Mhm.
S1100, and I need to find out what the ultimate what the ultimate outcome was with those at some point, but the interface that shipped on the S1100 was kind of a teaser of this G2
It
interface,
was. Yep,
and
that's
I don't
right.
think any of us realized, what was coming in the future. So
Hmm.
having used that G2 interface on the S1100 for several months, and then the G2 interface became available, and it was actually called the G2 upgrade. And at the time, I'm thinking like, it's just this UI thing, cool. And then like this whole new series of chargers and batteries comes out, which kind of like, what? Um, so so that's pretty cool. And you know. I have to be honest. As I was doing the, excuse me, as I'm doing the review on the batteries, I mean, look, there's a lot of people that that are that 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 are a little, what's skeptical about the lack of a balance plug. Um,
Yeah.
But as I started thinking about it, I mean, I've been pretty much fully invested in the smart ecosystem since it came out. And as each
Yeah.
of the individual components has been released, I've been buying into it little by little. So it started with the batteries, and then I got the smart charger. The first one I got was the S2100, and then I got the smart checker. And then everything just the snowball effect happened, and now I've got like 30 or 40 smart packs laying around, and uh, all of the chargers, um, except for the two that Tom's got, and and
I'll let you know what we find out.
yeah.
Did anybody see it coming? I mean, a lot of times did anybody see the G? I mean, I was completely floored by it. Actually, totally surprised by the G2 stuff because I think also those of us who are using smart are just tickled with it, and it's hard to imagine in a way improvements on something that's really so rocking already. And then
Yeah, yeah.
I do want you to reiterate, Tom, for the some of our guys in here who are asking about the G1 stuff. So you don't have any anticipation that you would eliminate G1 style batteries with balance leads, do you? Are you going to
No, we do
always
not.
keep those or not?
We're gonna keep them around. If there's a particular battery SKU that we see has dropped off in lieu of another battery, we might discontinue it.
Sure.
But if it's a popular pack like 2200 4S, 3Ss, 5000 6Ss, yeah, they're gonna be around indefinitely.
And what's really nice about those, I mean, again, the smart checker, what's the difference? I'm gonna use the new G2 battery, and instead of a balance lead, it's the same checker. Instead of the balance lead, I'm gonna just plug in the deal.
Right. Now, Ryan,
There you
I'm
go.
I'm going to venture to say that you have not done the latest update to your smart checker.
I
And it
haven't.
still
I never
works.
do any updates,
Yeah,
bro.
exactly. So, and that's what I was saying. Like, I'm pretty sure that yours is still how it came out of the box, 2 years ago, and it still works with the G2 batteries just fine.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
All day long. All day long. My only thing is you got to remember to have adapter to check your big batteries with IC5s.
Right.
That's it.
Yep.
And it needs to be an adapter, a smart one, so it has the data cable, or you're not going to get the reading, Tom.
Right. Yeah. You'll
Yeah,
just get the input voltage at that point,
but not any kind of.
but no smart
It's
anything.
yeah, it won't balance or anything.
Hmm.
Right. The data cable's what's up,
Yeah.
y'all.
So
Yep.
Ken Sprouse Jr. mentioned, the video that I've got. I actually charged a battery at at its max capacity because that was something else that when you're dealing with like a 100-watt charger or with like the S2100, um, it could do 180 watts against a single channel. But for a lot of batteries, especially as you started getting into like your higher milliamp hour 4S and 6S batteries, you're never going to achieve very high rates out of those because you hit a wattage limit. It's not so much a current limit. You
Yep.
can set the current, to charge at 12 amps, but you're never going to reach it because it hits 180 before it ever
Yeah.
hits 12 amps.
Right.
So with the that S1400, I charged a battery that was at storage voltage. It started at 3.8 volts and charged it. And it was a little battery, but it's still impressive. I was able to charge an I think it was a 2200 4S to full charge in 7 minutes.
That's
Like
awesome.
Isn't that nice?
yes.
It is, and
Yeah.
it's safe. I mean,
Yep.
you're not. It's if it's not safe and it's not working and things aren't clipping along in a balanced fashion, it's gonna let you know.
Oh yeah.
It
Yep.
won't let it happen.
Right.
Hmm.
Just
And the other
just like when you put a dead battery. Sorry, Dave.
no, it's
Just
okay.
like when you put a dead battery in a plane. If you're flying smart stuff and Spectrum, it tells you that battery is not good to go for
Yep.
flight.
Right.
Yep.
Now, the other thing that I noticed that is worth mentioning, and I don't think that I mentioned it in my video, which I'm not going to go and pull it down and re-edit it, so I'll just say it here. Um, we may have lost Ryan. He's looking a little weird.
Yeah, I think so.
Good Sunday morning.
You
You're part of the
you look like
matrix.
Chewbacca,
Good
dude. It's awesome.
good morning. Good
That's
Sunday
odd.
morning.
So
I'm glitching.
so the balancing. One of the things that I was kind of looking for when I did the high C charge, when I threw Kool-Aid up in there, when I when I did the high C rating charge on that battery, a lot of the chargers that I've used in the past, and the S1500 included, whether it's iChargers, the S1500, any of the high power DC chargers that I've used before, when you charge at high C ratings, so when you get into the 4 and 5C charge rates, where you're just pumping that battery, it sits at that high C charge rate until it's just about done and then it drops off. But it kills the charge cycle before and it's pushing the voltage of that battery against a wall, and when it hits what it expects to see, it just stops. And
Yeah.
voltage sag works in both directions.
Hmm.
So when you're punching it hard with juice coming into the battery, you'll see the voltage elevate and spike, and it may hit that 4.20 volts. and then it'll drop back down when it lays off of the charge voltage or the charge current. That voltage will sag back down a little bit, both up and
Mhm.
down. And a lot of the, getting back to that high current charging, a lot of the chargers that I've used in the past, they would see a peak charge and stop charging when you're charging at a high C rating, and you'd only get like 4.1 volts per cell. And with
Ah,
the S1400, with the new balance board and everything that's in the G2 batteries, to be fair, I haven't tried this using the balance plug. I only tried it on the G2 batteries, just max current.
Full
Yeah,
capacity,
full bore charging at
full
5C.
throttle, full throttle
Yeah,
Johnny.
right. Um,
I love it.
but at a 5C charge rate, it balanced perfect. And when I took it off the charger, I took it off the charger immediately and let it sit for a few minutes, put it onto my, and this part is in the video, but you can't tell what I'm looking at, because one happened in the charger video and the other one happened in the battery video. I plugged that battery probably 5-10 minutes later into my smart checker, and it's still sitting at 4.20 volts. So
That's
yeah.
that
fantastic.
5C
And this
charge
follows
rating
up.
gets you a true 4.20 volts, which is
This is going to
awesome.
Without
follow
over
up.
peaking or false peaking on
Right,
it.
right.
It's good.
So here's a follow up, Dave and Tom, a little bit on that. So you say you charged at 5C. Is that the max that charger will do then?
That's the max the batteries are recommended to charge at.
But you could actually push it more if you wanted to, but don't.
Yeah, I mean, the smart batteries won't let you go over
Right.
that.
And that's what's
You
Yeah,
can't go over 5C.
right.
And
it
for
won't let you
guys
go
who
over
don't
5C.
know, so let's say we're charging a 5,000 milliamp 6S backpack, 5C, that's like 25 amps, right?
Right.
That's right.
That's nuts. Like when I
Mhm.
charge my batteries, like a 5,000, I don't normally go over 8 or 9 if I'm in a hurry, and it's still getting done
Good
in
20
good
minutes or so.
measure.
Yeah.
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 I don't want to let this question get biased, though. Ken Sprouse's question, and it really follows on what you were discussing, Dave. He says, if you do charge at the max, is it still safe for the packs, or should it only be done if you don't have the time to wait? So, are your batteries going to suffer at all for being charged at that quicker rate over time?
It depends on the cell. It depends on the internal resistance of the pack. If you've got a good quality smart battery, then it'll be just fine.
Right.
If you've got a battery that's getting older, a little bit up in age, or has some damage to it or whatever, the internal resistance is bad, then yeah, you're probably what was Dave was mentioning is it's gonna false peak more easily at that higher charge rate. So it'll max out. It'll say okay 4.2, and then it'll drop down, and then it'll go back up and say okay, I think I'm done. You'll pull the battery off. You'll give it a few minutes, and like he was saying, you'll notice it'll be back down. Like especially if it's a bad cell, that cell will drop down exponentially. So if you've got a good battery, yes, it's going to be perfectly fine. The chemistry of the pack is rated for that charge rating.
Right.
Nice. And guys, I mean, you got to be in a real hurry. I think Dave was probably doing it just to see what would happen. I mean, even when I'm at an event, like 2C is probably where I'm at. And what, 10, 15 minutes instead of 7? Like I can handle it. It's okay.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if you guys are into RC car racing or if there's anybody in the chat that's ever been into RC car racing. What those guys will do is they'll get the really, really powerful chargers, like 2,000 watt chargers. And even if the battery says it only can handle 2C, they'll jack it up to like 5C, 10C. And the reason they're doing that is because it heats the battery
right.
up. And the hotter the battery is, the lower the internal resistance of the pack is. And everything will actually run smoother and faster. So,
Wow.
I mean, just a little tidbit.
Right.
Heli pilots will do that too.
Yeah, but the car guys, they may only get like 30, 40 cycles out of a battery before it's completely kaput.
Yeah, they don't care. I mean, yeah, right.
Yeah,
No,
when
if
their
your battery's not
batteries
rated for
die,
that charge rate, it's bad for it.
most of the time it's just going to roll to a stop. You don't have to still fly the thing down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're using hard shell batteries, so when the shell cracks, they know that it's over.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah.
A lot of us, I think, kind of retire our batteries. Like some of us jet jocks will abuse our packs and then retire them to um, prop planes or surface or things like that. Because I'll notice a diminished performance to a degree. I tell you though, I've been hard on all of my packs, no matter who makes them, and I have crazy good fortune with them, and I've killed some, and I've made some round, that aren't supposed to be, they're not supposed to be round really,
Sometimes you'll still use them.
or
Right.
stink. Yeah, well, that's when I sell those on RC groups.
Right.
I'm totally kidding. I will not even give those packs away.
And what's funny is
I use them to hold doors open and stuff.
and I mean, if you fail to acknowledge this, Tom, then shame on you. But I'll say that almost any pack that's wrapped in blue heat shrink is terrible. It doesn't matter who it comes from. I mean, whether it's Turnigy, the old E-Flight
Yeah.
batteries.
I
I
feel
mean,
ya.
they were bad. Uh,
Puff,
yeah, they were
puff,
Puff the Magic
puff.
Dragon, man. Those things were terrible. So, yeah, and to Tom's point, the high charge ratings, and it goes right along with your discharge ratings too. Uh, your high charge ratings, you're going to see some batteries that say, "Oh, don't charge this any more than 1C." You know right out of the gate that that's a garbage battery. And that's why
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
consider the Spectrum batteries, these smart cells, they're good quality cells, man. So,
Yeah,
when
we cherry picked the cells. Literally, we went around to like every vendor in China. It was like, we want the best batteries, and we found them.
right, right. So, when it says that it can handle a 5C charge rating, I mean, that's what you're paying for.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, there's budget batteries out there, but if you charge those at 5C, you're going to kill them. Um, there's a big difference between a $70 6S 6000 battery and a
Mhm.
$140 6S 5000 battery. There's
And I mean, I appreciate guys wanting to save money. I do, but I'm not. I'm in a really blessed position to get to do the top notch stuff. And when I'm buying batteries, which I very kind of rarely need to, unless it's an oddball like for my surface stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I say, I abuse them and I don't worry about it. And I trust what they say on the C ratings. I've had really great fortune with I think I've only lost one smart pack, and it was me. Like the one thing that's kind of funny about Surface is it seems to let you run your packs way lower than any of your airplane
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to realize you're at LVC with those.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
completely annihilated a 3S hard case thing. But it's just dead as a doornail. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I'm using. I think I don't know. Dave might have seen some of my 6S packs at Jet Jam, and they look like they were left in the road and run over.
Yeah, you beat them up.
Because I'm bashing with them. I mean, to the moon. Like, I don't for. Any of you guys have seen me send it. It's okay. It's not Duper Bash. It's not RC Dude. It's not quite a Kevin Talbot.
You don't have to
send,
jump
but
the
like,
length of a football field to have fun.
yeah, I mean, I built my ramp for loft, not distance. So I mean, I'm getting it up there and not always landing right. And these packs are still. I mean, I'm almost ashamed at how they look. I'm not even
You
sure.
still using some tacos?
One of them's a little bit not straight, but
Yeah.
it's balanced, and I'm using it. It's fine. I use it in jets still. I mean, it's I like them. I like them.
Something else that I wanted to point out, you had asked Tom to sell the stuff, and I'm so excited about this stuff that I like selling it too, not to be a shill, but because it freaking works.
Thanks,
Yeah.
You
Dave.
know,
It's good
it's
stuff.
awesome. And the other thing that I wanted to point out, why is this stuff worth it to me? Look, like, yeah, I get some things provided to me, but I buy most of it. Like the NX10, that's coming out of my pocket, yo. So,
All right.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, there's a good balance there, and the reason that the smart batteries, to me, and even when we're talking about radios, anything that comes from Horizon for the most part, the Spectrum batteries, tell me another battery manufacturer that puts a 1 year warranty on their batteries.
That means I can
And
still
we're
replace
really
that
lax on it too. I
3S.
mean, we'll replace batteries that we are obviously know have been abused. So
Yeah.
we're really
It's
nice
got a
about it.
hole
I
through
mean,
it.
tell
Like,
me who else puts a 1 year warranty on their batteries? That alone to me
uh,
is
I,
worth it.
I think. Well, darn it! Now I don't want to mention our competitors. There's a couple out there,
Could I
but
say like Max Amps? Do they do it?
yeah, Max Amps, Thunder Power. I don't know if they do anymore. They used to. They might not.
Thunder Puff.
Yeah, Thunder Puff.
I mean, my experience with Thunder Power, it's not fair because I was brand new to the hobby. I was over propping everything I was doing because I didn't
Yeah.
know. I was buying these GWS kits. I was buying either Hobby King or Heads Up RC motors and putting too big a prop on them. So I was hard on my stuff.
Yeah.
But I puffed a bunch of Thunder Powers and they were premiumly priced. I mean,
Thunder
this
Power's
was
they're
a
never
while
cheap.
ago. It was a while ago, like 2009, and a 2200 was like, am I remembering this wrong? I swear they were like 40 or
Oh
$50.
yeah, yeah.
It's like I
50,
can get
60 bucks. Yeah.
two of about anything else. Um, so yeah, man, good. I like it. Good times.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look,
So
I remember somebody
Ken had
asking
a question
what
for
C
you,
rating we
Tom.
had. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, go
yeah.
ahead. Was that it?
Yeah, that's the question I'm talking about. Ken Sprouse had a question relating to what's the difference between, I guess, the discharge rating, G2
We're
compared to
still
G1.
conservatively saying 30. The 100 aren't out yet. They'll be coming, I think, late March or something like that. The G200Cs, but now at the end of the month we'll have 30 and 50Cs. And like I said, that's a very conservative number. It is higher than that. It's just what we like to rate it at, so that it doesn't get, people aren't pushing it and be like, well, what the heck, So
yeah, now,
you know what I'm
are you
saying?
guys going to be doing the 100C batteries in the G2 packs?
Yes. Oh yeah.
I don't know if I have any. I got 50C and 30C stuff. And
Yeah.
my jet, a lot of my 5006S packs, I think they're 30C, and I'm using them in everything. I'm
Oh
pretty
yeah.
pumped.
I mean, the
I'm
30
pumped to
packs are
have the
freaking phenomenal.
50C. 50C stuff is looking good.
Well,
And
and that goes along with the misconception that like, oh, I need this huge C rating. Man, no, you don't. If you have like the 7000 smart pack, they're like, you should make that in a 50C. Like, what? Do you even know what you're asking for? Are you
Yeah.
really going to
Do
throw
you know what you're asking for? Exactly.
350
Yeah.
amps of current through that battery? Like, do you know what the C
Yeah.
rating means? I mean, if
Yeah.
210 amps of continuous current is not enough, you need a different battery.
Yeah.
yeah, well,
What's going on?
you're not running it through a system that could handle that kind of discharge anyway. I mean,
Right.
what are you going to
Yeah.
do? Spin the
There's no
battery in
point.
90 seconds?
Yeah.
I mean, that's fast.
In some cases, actually having a lower C rating is better because it causes the battery to heat up a little better, and like I said earlier, it increases or decreases the internal resistance.
It's one of those things. I just want to say to the skeptics, because I know there are some, but once you've had this stuff at your fingertips, I can't tell you how nice it is to not have to grab a checker, just to scroll the wheel over or whatever and see
Yeah.
what you want to know. As a guy who's making videos, obviously, I've made it a protocol to give a reading and a time after these flights, and it's super nice being able to just scroll over and get it done. So, and another thing, it reminds me of like how we're seeing some of these classics come back, like how much love for that Park Zone Trojan as it was. It came with nothing but the bind and probably a green little Puff the Magic Dragon battery. And
The
now
really bad
you've
one. If
got
it was in a green wrapper, party's
even
over,
worse.
man.
Now you got AS3X, Safe Select. And this kind of leads me to a question I had. But even things like the Vapor have this AS3X and Safe in it. And there's some guys who are like, bah humbug. But man, anybody who's flown with stabilization, how can you not like it? I mean, we're not going to fly with the radios they used to make years ago. It's technology, and it's available. It's at our fingertips, and I think it makes things better. I think it's good for the hobby. It makes things more accessible, and you can tell how much the new guy appreciates it because of how hard it is to get them off of it sometimes. But good job, kudos. Now I'm going to forget my question, but I'm going to remember it in a minute. I promise.
Yeah.
It was about the radio, I think. Oh
Well,
yeah.
I mean, you came across, saying that some people are bah humbug about gyros and Safe and AS3X, and I mean, really, it makes smaller planes fly better. I mean, I got my little Twisted Hobbies 3D plane here. I don't need AS3X for it, but it makes it fly a whole heck of a lot better when it's windy out.
That's why I like this tech, because things that I used to refuse to do. I mean, honestly, I had to do so many in-depth videos on Hobby Eagle and Admiral gyros a long time ago, and I didn't know how to work them. They were new, and I learned how to work them by having to be tasked to show folks how to use it. So when AS3X, which I love in my bind and fly models, I really only recently have begun to do in, the off-the-shelf receivers, because I refuse to hook up to an app or a whatever. I didn't want to do it. So what I'm getting at is with the Trojan, I screwed up the bind with my NX6. I didn't do it right, where I could do the Safe Select was ready to be assigned.
Yeah.
But the beauty of the new tech is the NX and the IX stuff, even if you screw up the bind, you can get into forward programming and still get it done without having to go backwards. Am I wrong with that assessment?
No, that's right. Yeah, you can go in there and depending on the receiver, you can set it up. Or if you want, you can just put it into bind mode in forward programming. There's actually a menu to go into bind mode if you want to rebind it and redo the safe stuff. So,
So I have been pretty happy with the defaults. There's been times where I've used a 637T and wanted to match what was the default for that plane, just so I, was sharing an experience that was honest. And so anyway, a guy who's honestly like not that technical in a way is like getting along. And once you go smart, there's no really kind of going back in a way, because it is really nice having that available. And just like your smartphone, I mean, a lot of the stuff available might be more than most of us need. But as far as for what I desire, I get it out of this stuff, and I'm glad to have it. So thanks so much for including me on the share on this. And I've got a question from Dennis Farley, and I will say yes, but I want to propose it to everyone. So Dennis's question kind of statement, it's kind of like Jeopardy. So are y'all saying EDFs are okay on 30C batteries? What is yes?
For the most part, I would say yeah. Look at the airplane, what it's rated for. Like if it comes with an 80 amp ESC, kind of round up a little bit. Usually, I look at that and say, okay, it might pull 100 amps at a burst current, and then see if the battery can handle that. So you look at like 30C is on like a 5,000 milliamp pack, that would be 150 amps. you're fine to go. Yeah. So,
Good. Yeah.
but if it's a 3200 and it's 30C, that's only 90 amps. So you're kind of skirting the line there. So, and it depends on how you fly as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely seen an increase in performance when I've jumped to like a 70C pack, some, you know what I mean, here and there, or a 100C. But it's pretty hard to tell unless you're really paying attention. And like I say, I've been flying all the stuff you guys have been putting out on the batteries that you're putting out, and not suffering at all. I mean, I think the videos should tell us, you know, we're having a good time. They're ripping up the place, and they're super reliable. So I appreciate it, and congratulations. You guys are kicking butt. 35 years. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, we got a good team. It's full of hobbyists. It's one of the great things I like to talk about with Horizon is that we're not a bunch of, suits or anything like that. We're all like 90% of the people that are behind the product are RC hobbyists. So it's really good for people to be able to do that. Even like our product support people, we encourage them to, get into the hobby or, at least learn a little bit about it. We'll give them products so they can have fun with it and really get into it. So it's an important aspect of Horizon that I like to share.
Dave's RC has a comment about 30C packs on twin EDFs. I can see that perhaps being an issue. And you guys who are smarter than me,
like look at your power system. I would say like the little Viper that we make, 30C all day, be fine. But yeah, the twin Sukhoi, you probably want to go with a 50 or 100C pack.
So do the math real quick, just for us laymen. So the Sukhoi, twin engine, one pack. What's the draw?
And I think you're running two. What is it?
70 millimeters.
270. So it's 140 that you're pulling against the pack.
Yeah, so and that's just continuous currents. It's probably like if you punch it, your throttle's all the way down, and you punch it, it's going to burst current. That's going to be pulling a good 20 amps over, in my experience.
Yeah.
And so you're with a 30C pack, it's not going to like it.
So yeah, because you're awfully close to running out of headroom. So let me ask you, where'd you get the 70 from? Is that from the speed control?
Yeah, it's a speed control rating. That's just a good way to, rule of thumb.
And then you're like you're doubling that because it's a twin. So your digit you're processing this with is 140 in your head. Yeah. And then you're thinking about a 5,000 30C pack. Somehow you're coming up with, I'm just kind of noticing. So somewhere in there is a 5x3. You're coming up with 150 amp kind of. Is that your peak?
Continuous current rating on the
continuous. Battery. So you've not got a lot of headroom there. So not being in the power the whole time.
How old the pack is.
Yeah.
What kind of abuse it's been through. Has it ever been over discharged? Those things kind of compound on top of each other that can cause a battery to fail in flight or puff. Another thing, especially when it's cold out, you're gonna not get as much power out of your batteries when it's cold out. Right. So you might even get dead sticks and puffing from that as well.
Yeah, and the other thing that I was going to mention is if you're running like crappy batteries, a lot of these guys that everybody's quick to blame the electronics. If you're running crappy batteries, you can have what may feel like a loss of signal when really you don't have a loss of signal at all. You just have your bad battery just slapped you in the face.
It slapped you in the face because everything got so hot you shorted something out.
Right.
Yeah.
So Dave's RC, this is a good one. So he says he puffed a smart pack, but the disclosure is he had a twin upgraded 6S power system in a Gloucester Meteor. So if he had a super hot setup, it could have easily been more than that battery could take. And that's one thing I love about your products, man, is listen, man, I flew the dog fiddlings out of the Sukhoi in, middle of summer and whatever battery I had. whether it was y'all stuff or what I had laying around. And I think when the power systems are smart, I mean smartly designed and efficient, um, unless you are using some just piece of garbage, you're usually okay.
Yeah.
And just like when I would overprop things when I was putting power systems together myself, that's the one thing about the, if I'm going to outfit kind of cowboy style a jet, especially a twin, maybe I need to do some amp readings and stuff on the bench to see that
you
I have
should.
the proper equipment to handle it. Dave saw me fry a ESC pretty good. It was a twin FMS A10 at Jet
Yeah,
Jam.
yeah.
I melted that connector clean off, and I just got lucky. It was right after I landed.
Was it a Dean's connector?
Dude,
was an
it is an
EC5.
IC90. It was an IC90 with an EC5 battery.
That's right.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Yes, so
maybe-
probably a loose connection.
maybe kind of baggy.
Yeah.
and super hot. And I think I had just flown it before. And it's a twin on one battery. One battery running two motors.
You're getting a lot of current coming through that one connector.
A lot of heat. And so, Dave was right there when it happened. And I completely, obviously, like always, it was the electronics. It wasn't my judgment at all. I'm kidding.
It was, but
it was completely
it was still
my
user
judgment.
error.
It was completely my judgment call, and that's what led to it. I'm so happy that plane is in one piece, though. I still need to swap out the ESCs, but
that's a cool plane.
Yeah, that
It's a super
FMS A10 that's one of my favorite A10s.
the little one and that one kick butt. I like the FMS one just for how much bigger the battery compartment is, which is kind of nice.
Okay.
But man, that little one for me, 4,000 smart's the biggest I want in there. But the 3200 6S is nice in so much of the small stuff.
Yeah,
man,
balances
all the 70
too.
millimeter stuff, man. That 3200 and 4,000 are my jam.
Yeah, so there was a question earlier, and I kind of feel bad because we go off on these little micro tangents. But a question came up, and this is a pretty hot topic as of recent, and it says, "Can I assume Horizon Hobby is ready for the new FAA requirements for remote ID?"
And Dave, I think it was you. No, it was somebody else. But I get asked this question all the time, and I will say that we have a whole team of people looking into it. I can't say what the outcome will be, but it is our lifeblood. We want to make sure that everybody's still going to be able to enjoy the hobby, and we want to still be able to stay in business and still sell airplanes.
Right.
So yeah, you can count on Horizon, being at the forefront of making it still accessible for people, even after these regulations get put in place.
And
I super appreciate that. I do appreciate that, and I know you guys, along with the AMA. I have to, in my mind, think about the AMA, Flight Test, and Horizon as some of the greatest, loudest voices in dealing with the FAA. You guys have some people. You don't really publicize it a lot, but you guys really made sure you delivered some comments to the FAA as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sorry, Dave.
No, it's fine.
Go, baby.
Oh.
I cut you off.
No,
sorry, man.
I was just going to say that, like, my show this past Monday. I mean, I was tired as heck, but it was like that week after I had digested the rules and looking at time frames and stuff like that, and even on Monday, I made the suggestion, like, Horizon, just because of the way that you guys make planes, is going to be probably the first and maybe one of few that's able to actually pull this off immediately. um,
Hmm.
because of the bind and fly nature. And I was telling people, like, you may see plug and play airplanes go away. Um, just because you can't sell an airplane without remote ID, and it just makes so much sense to make the remote ID part of the receiver. But who knows? I mean, that's all speculation.
Yeah, could be part of it. Could be an add-on. We'll see.
Right, right. And yeah, I mean,
The shadow
there was a
knows.
lot. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I'm was doing a lot of speculation, but everything comes back around to, I mean, look at what's out there right now, and who's making airplanes and electronics. You know,
Hmm.
who's got all
Yeah,
of that under
really
their
well.
belt.
Yeah,
Um,
really well.
so
We rely on Horizon at this point to lead that innovation. Don't we? I mean, really.
right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think that and Dale RB Senior says he hopes that it's something that just plugs into his existing Spectrum receivers. That's there's got to be something out there for the 40 or 50 or 100 planes that a lot of us have laying around. We're
Hmm.
not going to throw all those planes away, or we're just going to be like RC Outlaws, and it's just going to be hell in the skies.
RC Outlaws, RC Pirates.
Man, I just now looked at the numbers because I don't see what I usually see guys doing the stream. Because thank you, Dave, for producing the show today. Man, we got 105 guys in here on a Thursday night, kind of rando Calrissian,
Man,
talking some G2. I love it. The
all
G
right.
Summit with three G's talking about
The
G2.
G2 Summit, that's funny.
RC Pirates Lounge. Jordan Dole. Arr,
That's what you got to rename
yar.
the show if you go rogue.
Yeah, right.
Well, if the FAA messes it up and I got to do boats, that's what it'll become. I'll quit if I got to do boats. Um, Nothing against them, just not my bag. I do bashers and stuff first, but cool, man. I like it, guys. Think about some pertinent questions. We got two really gifted tech heads on the show today. We're approaching Kenny's, telethon deal that
Yeah.
that starts at 9. He told me he's going to do a show on the ISDT and completely crap all over this
That's
G2
that's
stuff
what
as
he
soon as
Come
always
we're
does.
done.
on.
So
I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm a funny guy. I'm sorry. It's more than just good looks. There's humor. I talked to Kenny though before the show. Just we're good. Like I'll do these Thursday shows, but we're also respectful in this live stream game for the most part, right? So
uh,
respect your elders, no matter how tall they are. And I try to get be done by 9 o'clock. So we're getting there. And then Hangar 51, he did tell me what he was going to do, and it's not what I said. So
Okay.
to
I didn't even know if ISDT makes chargers anymore.
I as a
They're
joke,
actually getting into like making chargers and things for like cameras and stuff.
yeah, and
let them.
like lithium ion, like 18650 cells and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, more professional kind of stuff.
So here's a question, and guys that have questions specifically for the tech heads in the room, do me a favor and lead the question with some emojis or question
Oh,
marks.
wait,
Uh,
John Knopp. I don't want Tom to answer this. Look up
Oh, okay.
look up the FCC
FCC
filings.
filing.
Look up the FCC filings for
I
Horizon
think it's
Hobby.
out there. There's a 10 channel coming. Come on.
I don't
dang.
want to give up the goods, man. But yeah, since Tom said it, yes, there's a 10360T on the way.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. I don't think it's a secret anymore.
It's
No,
been out there for months.
Yeah. The
very
FCC
cool.
is the ultimate leaker for us.
Right.
Who is the FTC?
The
FCC.
the Federal Communications
FCC,
Commission.
sorry.
They have to file
Yeah.
everything that they're going to release. So I know that for the most part, a lot of the filings don't get published until after they've already made the product announcement, or like they're very close in coincidence with each other. So when
Yeah.
everybody
Sometimes they let it out early though.
right when the release came out for the 8360, the FCC filing showed up for the 10362, and we're all like,
Yeah.
why didn't they release the 10 channel too? And I guess it's just not ready yet.
Oh,
So I got a question from Zone Gamma. Will Spectrum do censored brushless crawler motors? And did we lose Tom?
No, his battery
I'm still
crashed.
here. My battery died.
Okay. You got to pay the bill, Holmes.
Swap it out.
Will Spectrum do censored brushless crawler motors and ESCs?
Will Spectrum do censored brushless or crawler motors? That's been a big ask, and it's something that I am extra hopeful for.
So what's
I
power
can't.
systems?
I'm not going to say, but
You
maybe.
can't say. So what? As a good question, Zone. Apparently, you put him on the hot seat. So
yeah, that's something I'm passionate
You
about.
know-
Well, at least getting into really hot and heavy is RC crawling,
they're-
and
dude,
I am one of the top guys saying we need to have one. And
the axial.
keep your eye on the horizon.
SCX
I get it.
10.3 has a super smooth throttle situation response. If I remember right, the axial, I have it actually in another room. The axial SCX 10.3 crawler has, I believe it has that
It has that
ESC
40 amp
receiver combo.
right.
Yeah, it's got the Firma 40 amp ESC smart combo thing, and I love that. But because it's brushed, it's almost feels like a censored system
Yes,
because
it's super smooth.
it's super smooth. It's easier to get tiny increments. It's
Yep.
adjustable where you can get good drag brake for crawling up and down slopes and things like
Right.
that.
So if
yeah.
you go censored, all of a sudden what happens to that 40 amp receiver combo? Does it have to be changed?
Yeah, because
Or
it's brushed.
It's got to be
yeah,
totally
if you want
different.
to, you'd have to put in a receiver and a different ESC. The
Yeah.
censored ESC. Yeah.
Unless you guys come up with like the censored version of that,
Right.
which guys would, I think, be all over. Especially the think about the footprint of these vehicles. Like as small as you can get it is the better.
Now, what I've seen that's pretty slick, Rick, is there's other companies out there, and I hate to bring it up, but there's other companies out there that are doing like an all-in-one, like a 550. It's a 550 motor can. It's a 540 motor with an ESC included, so it's
Bundle.
yeah. Well, it's all in one unit, so the ESC
Yeah, they
and
put
everything.
the ESC into the back of the can.
Yeah, so
Yep.
the
Dynamite makes a couple of
yeah,
those.
so Dynamite's
Yeah.
got some, and Hobby Wing, I think they're called the Hobby Wing Quick Run or something like that.
Yeah.
They are super slick. It's a censored, brushless, kind of designed for
Fusion.
crawlers. Yeah.
Fusion. That makes sense. Wow. Yeah, I'm happy with the axial setup. I have a couple of the Red Cat crawlers, and I really like them for a value 1/10. But I want a different power system. That's my only gripe. Is you really got to be light on the trigger, or you're all of a sudden you're bashing.
I'd say try one of the Firma 40 amps. Those are the one with the ESC and receiver built into one. I use them in all my crawlers right now until I can get
So
something
you think
new.
that'll smooth out? Like, let's say you have a Red Cat Gen 8 and you change out the ESC and receiver for that Firma. Do you think that will smooth it out even with the stock?
I think it
brush?
will because it is specifically designed for crawling, and it has lots of settings in it too to change and kind of get it for your feel.
It rips in little brushless touring or brushed touring cars too. That little VW we did with that thing, it'll go.
Yeah,
it's a
I've
low
got it
key
in
upgrade.
one of my
That's
racers too.
Pretty slick, low key upgrade. We put one of those in that Tamiya car, right,
Yeah.
Dave? That
There you go.
Tamiya. Did you ever see that, Tom? Went totally smart completely on a Tamiya Carmen Ghia. New
It
shocks,
is such a
everything.
fanboy car.
Cool. Yeah.
It really
Dude,
is.
I gotta
Check that
show
out.
him, Dave.
Do
I
you
gotta
do you
get
have
it.
it in the shop?
I got
Yeah,
it.
go get this thing because it's like the poster car for Spectrum, even though it's a Tamiya
All
car.
right.
Yeah, I went all out with the paint job on this car. It's not it's not like super fancy, but
Yeah.
it's simple. It's simple but effective and looks really good.
Use airbrush or rattle
Oh,
can.
it's all airbrush, man. I don't rattle can nothing.
Sweet. All right. Cool.
So,
I've seen some people do some amazing stuff with rattle cans. So
oh, I have too. Yeah, no doubt.
yeah.
But this is all, it's mostly like stencil work, but I think you'll enjoy it. I think at one point I had asked you if you could like send me some vector graphics, and I never got a response back from you, so I had to make my own. But I did like
Oh, I'm
all,
sorry.
dude, don't sweat it.
I can get them.
I've got them now for G2 stuff, man. We can do some neat graphics.
Yeah, I did send you some of those. Yeah.
So hopefully Ryan will find this thing.
Well, I mean, we could answer some questions if
Yeah,
we
that's what I'm
want.
looking for. I'm still looking at the.
All right.
I'm still checking the chat. Oh, here it comes. Yes. So
All
this
right.
thing is such a geek machine.
So before I knew what I was talking about, I kind of we talked about I wanted a drift car out of the
Yeah.
Carmen Ghia, and
That's-
it really doesn't drift because it's rear wheel drive. But
Yeah.
Dave Air Marshal actually has videos on how he made this like super dope paint scheme and all. Look at that,
Yeah.
Tom.
Wow. That's painted
That's
on?
Yeah,
it's
it's
underneath the
it's
plastic.
painted in.
Whoa.
So I had to do all of the logos. So like everywhere where you see like Spectrum logos, the little YouTube play
Oh,
button. I mean, this thing is a total geek
that's the
machine.
next level. That's great.
Yeah, so all of the Spectrum logos and the Spectrum stuff on the back, the smart logo on top, that was all painted in reverse first.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
and
And then
then
you put the backer onto it.
yeah.
And then
Oh
I
yeah,
did
I've painted plenty of bodies. I know how it goes.
look at it's Velcro. I had them 3D print some stuff so I didn't have body clips.
Yeah, I had to
And then
design new new body standoffs with Velcro
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
so we got super dope shocks, but we got that 40 amp ESC receiver combo
Yeah,
we
there
were
it
talking.
is. Yeah.
And then we changed the tires. We put shocks on. I say we. I just commissioned it. Dave did it because he comes from Surface. We did have a Reedy motor in here, but I ended up putting the stock motor back in because I killed it.
Yeah.
But it's actually super fun to drive around. Oh, we locked up the diffs too, so it's like super squirrely, super
Oh.
squirrely. We got a high-tech servo in here. I mean, this thing is completely doped out. Changed the tires. I mean, I took a $140 kit and managed to spend 150 or 350 bucks on
Yeah, I
it.
was gonna say, well, how much did we
Yeah.
throw into that? About $500.
It was a
Have you
lot
seen
because
the Have you seen the mini Z cars that have been kind of the rage
Oh,
lately?
those Kyosho's, dude. Those things are nice.
Yeah.
Super.
Man,
Are you talking
people
about
spend
that
almost
AMG?
$1,000 on
They're
those things.
they're like
that
124
Mercedes
scale.
AMG is sick.
Yeah, the little
No, it's like a mini Z. They're literally like that
yeah,
big.
they'll fit in your
It's a
hand.
little race
But
car.
they're so
Yeah.
detailed. Like they've got
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, they're awesome. They're neat little cars. But
Everybody keeps bugging us to make a receiver for it. But Kyosho has got that stuff on lock, man. It's hard to get any kind of proprietary stuff from them.
if you're willing to fly it with an airplane controller, you could probably fit one of the little
Yeah, you can put like a
micro receivers in there.
serial receiver in it. Yeah.
You'd have to get
That's
kind of
it,
creative.
man. We had a good time coming up with how to dress this up.
It's cute. I like it a
it's
lot.
a shelf queen at this point.
Yeah.
That paint job, I mean, Dave, you made masks and all kinds of stuff to work that out, and it just looks legit as AF.
Yeah.
Just super, super, super
Yeah,
nice.
I was sad when
And
I
then-
had to put it in a box and mail it to you.
I know you were.
You'll have to do another one for yourself.
Right.
So fun, man. Yeah, I love that. I've actually wrecked it. It's even been upside down, but I you can't hardly tell.
Well, that's why you have to do all that on the inside of the body, or that all that stuff would be gone now.
That's right. You would lose your paint. So here's my raggedy Spectrum hat, man. Just to remind
There it
you
is.
that I need some love.
All right. I'll make sure to get you out some.
All right, man.
He'll send it with a windsock.
Okay.
Yeah. You do need a windsock at your airfield.
I do. You know what's hilarious? It was on your stream, right, Dave? My dad was in the well, he wasn't in the stream. He won the windsock, but he wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so he didn't get it. And
Well.
the thing is, I was so happy my dad won because I knew that I was going to get the windsock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was gonna, snatch it.
get
He's
one
my
way.
dad. He's my dad, man. I can take it. But yeah, he couldn't get in the room fast enough. So hilarious.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, there has been a lot of people talking about the windsock. I think that's going to be a hot seller
see
for you
that.
guys. I think
There's a lot
right.
of There's a lot of scuttlebutt going around about this windsock.
about this here
we've been hearing
windsock here.
Dad, he's in the chat right now. He's like, sorry. No big deal, man. I'll get one.
Yep.
Dave needs one, I guess, in a big way because he's yelling about it, dropping
he's
F-bombs.
yelling about it. All caps.
Dang.
Dude, he's even dropping F-bombs about a windsock,
We'll
dude.
get you
Like that's
one.
some
Dang,
serious
dude.
that's some serious stuff. And based on recent events, I need Spectrum windsocks, Spectrum banners, Horizon hobby banners. We're gonna dress up my entire field in all Horizon stuff to make it really difficult for other people to want to fly there.
Dang.
I'm just kidding, dude.
Sorry, not sorry. So, very cool. Yeah, Velcro. Dump the clips, Dale. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dave feels strongly about the windsock. He says if he knew it was going to be that kind of party, he would have brought the mashed potatoes.
It's a really good windsock, man. It's a really good windsock.
Yeah.
So good.
You'll love it.
I haven't seen one in person yet, but I just saw Tom hold that one, and
It's smart too.
is it Spectrum and Smart?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Depending on which way the wind is blowing.
Yeah. I've got it right here.
It
If anybody's
tells
curious
you.
what we're talking about.
It's so smart. It tells you what the wind speed is and what direction.
Oh, it does
Yeah,
have
right.
a little.
Air vexed.
Yeah, we got the
Absolutely.
Spectrum logo,
Look-
smart logo right
Look
at the end.
at this thing.
Nice.
Come on. Does it have
Coming soon.
Does it have like a little hoop in the fat end?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So this is the end. This is the way it'll come, and it's got like a pull. Might be hard for people to see.
Sick.
Yeah. It's
Smart
good
sock.
quality. It's not that cheap Hobby King one.
Smart sock.
Wow. It's not that, dude. Everybody's like throwing shade. It's not that
Well-
cheap Hobby King piece of crap.
Well, I mean, they only charge you $10 for them or something.
What do you expect? This
Yeah.
one's like got what low E, like Windows when you buy them for ultraviolet.
Yeah.
It's got low E argon gas filled windsock, so it won't be destroyed by the elements. I mean, how smart do you want to be? That's awesome,
Dude.
Guys, what a good time! I think we're gonna 5 minutes and we're out.
So
Uh,
I want to get a windsock and put like a 120 millimeter computer fan on like full blast in there and like stick it in front of the camera at our field. So when people turn the camera on, it'll look like the wind is just going crazy and there's really no
Yeah,
wind. Like
it'll be
keep
a
all the
wacky waving inflatable arm
yeah,
man
yeah.
windsock.
For drama.
Like
Oh
That'll
keep
be the
all
man.
the
next
keep all
Spectrum
the
merch.
people that are
Hangs
afraid
there.
to fly in the wind, just keep them at home because they look at the field cameras first. They're like, oh no, the wind is
Yeah,
way too strong today. Like,
totally.
That's funny. It's all standing straight out like the moon flag.
yes.
Michael writes
Well,
is dumb enough that he wants to know if you make any indoor wind socks. I'm just kidding, writes. I love you, man. He's joking, yeah.
they're they're made by a company called Lifestyle. You just cut a hole in one end, and never mind.
Yeah, I know. I've been holding that one back too. Um, one size fits all. Um, Smart X. um, crazy. Yeah, Dana. I mean, when you're at a lack, for me, I look at the trees and speak for the trees, just like the Lorax. No, yeah, I can tell what the wind's doing with the leaves, and if you have to throw some grass, by all means, you can. But it is really nice having a windsock at the field. I mean, the plane will also tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Brooklyn Born has a question on the T28. Is the front gear on the new T28 stronger than the previous one? I cannot answer that because I never had the
It is
early one.
actually. Yep.
I was further when it kind of came around. I was already past it, and I wasn't doing the review work like I'm doing now. So I never got a chance to do that one.
It's got a beefed up motor mount and a beefed up landing gear mount for the nose gear.
Oh, it is beefed up.
Yeah.
Good on you. Good on you. And actually, now that you mention it, it makes a lot of sense. You guys would, since you did what you did to the tail upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, and actually the wing's got an extra spar in it as well, so the wing's it's a little bit stronger.
Oh, look at this.
So it takes that 4S without doing a taco tico. Man,
Right.
I was having a blast on 4S, dude, with that thing.
Did it get up
That
and
thing
move
was-
pretty good?
Dude, rocket ship to the moon. It was fun, man, and it had the gear on it. It'd fly even better clean. It's a belly lander's dream, that thing.
Yeah.
And now that it's 4S capable without doing anything to it, comes with an extra prop as well.
What?
For real.
Wait, so
And it's a good price. What is it? Bind and Fly with all that tech, it's like $199.
yes,
Yeah,
Guys, if you
$199.
haven't checked it out and you want to teach somebody how to fly, or you just want something that's like toss and boss but classic with all the tech, check out my videos, man, on that new T28. I got a couple of them I put out today, and it was a good time.
Yeah, that's a great
Good
plane.
time. Good time.
and like I miss the old. I mean, I know that they're both navy schemes, the yellow and the white and the red. The white and the red is so classic, and I guess if you still want that, you can get the 1.2 Trojan or the Carbon Z.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and I guess it's good to have some differentiation between because the Park Zone and now the E-Flight, the 1.2 and the 1.1, other than the retracts, they flew
And flaps.
yeah, and the flaps on the bigger one. But with the flaps up and the retracts down, the 1.1 and the 1.2 fly very similar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You definitely can tell there's more heft to the 1.2. But, just like in the comments today when somebody was like, because some people don't know this is a re-pop on a classic. So they're like, they'll say, complain about retracts and flaps. And I'm just like, well, you look at the 1.2.
Yeah.
Problem solved. Problem solved.
Yep.
Very good. Guys, any final thoughts from Tom or Dave here? Nope.
All I'll say is one of my favorite sayings, and we always get like, "Oh, are you guys coming out with this and that?" And for anybody that's asked that question, just keep your eye on the horizon and check us out on our social
I
pages.
see what you did
That's so
there.
funny.
I've been using that one for years.
Yeah. And I think that this year, I mean, we're already starting it off with an airplane and smart stuff. You know, how much stuff from Spectrum did you guys hold back from 2020? And I know that there had to have been a lot of stuff held back in 2020 from the E-flite side. I'll tell you, like Arma and Axial and Losi didn't hold back nothing. They were just killing it all of 2020. But
Yeah.
there's got to be a lot of stuff that got held back in 2020. In 2021, it's like shotgun blast, just boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
There's some good stuff coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from what I gather from everybody is gonna have. I mean, that's always the goal, right? Is all these companies want to be putting out something, but I think it's gonna be. I think people who have been kind of waiting are gonna get what they wanted this year, kind of from all over. I think that's cool.
Good.
I think that's awesome, and I just couldn't be having more fun. And even if you're not in the market for that T28, I think it's fun to kind of remember simple and how fun it is to just bang something around. And I really gave the first one a lot of praise in the video, I feel like. So it is what it is. It really, I think people will realize pretty soon how important that plane can be for guys who are getting into the hobby, because it really is fully capable for somebody that's got experience to just rip it and have a blast. And then now with the tech, somebody who's learning, you can have a versatile platform to, simply learn slow and steady, and then also be satisfied when it's time to lose the training wheels. So good
it's a perfect
deal.
second plane. It's set up so that even if you started off with an apprentice that came with a DX, even a DX5E, it'll work. No need to change any settings. You just bind it up and it flies with it.
So cool. And if you got NX or IX radios,
you have presets that are ready to go.
That's right. You screw up the bind, all you got to do is scroll to forward programming, and you can still assign your safe.
Yeah. Just turn it off.
I guess we're going to wrap it, dudes. Tom, thanks for coming so much, man.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Really cool talking to you. What a surprise to receive these goodies, man. I really appreciate it. It's cool to be able to share it with the community here, and I think it worked out really good. Two of the best guys I can think of to kind of share this. And if you want more of a deep dive on this new G2 stuff, obviously check out the Horizon Hobby website. Check out our buddy Air Marshall's done some videos, and he'll be able to link you to the product to get tech spec and information. I mean, if you're going to pop on this stuff, go with the guy who gives you the most value, in that regard. So check out our buddy Air Marshall on that, and check out me for everything else. No, I'm just teasing. Kind of, not really. Look, I'm just glad to see you guys in the comment sections of the videos. This affiliate stuff is really cool, but none of us that have been around for a while, the affiliate thing was never why we began to do what we did. It's just a cool perk that comes with it. And all you guys who do such a great job at clicking through and supporting your favorite influencers are really doing a great service to these guys and myself who burn the midnight oil to deliver this content. So I gotta appreciate you for that. And if you don't do anything, keep showing up in the videos, commenting, liking, all those things. And I'll see you in the next one. Dave, RC Air Marshal, check out his YouTube channel. Thanks again for producing the show.
Yep.
Tom Cogswell, you can see him at Horizon on the Spectrum stuff. This dude knows what's up, and he's available.
Spectrum RC social guy. So if you guys want to talk to me, message Spectrum RC, or you can message me on Facebook. That's fine.
And like he said about the whole team behind him and the culture there at Horizon, what's wonderful about it is these guys are avid modelers as well. They're still available after 5. We just all love this stuff, and what a wonderful escape to have, and what a kick butt community. full of loads of talent and information to share. And I think it's amazing how, like in my community, I feel like there's the gamut from very experienced down to the guy just getting into it. And there's room for everybody, and it's really cool. So
absolutely.
Kenny at Hangar 51 is going to be doing his live stream here in just a few minutes. A lot of guys like to go over there and give him a hard time and enjoy the hangout. So
right.
if
well,
you haven't seen
guys.
Kenny, check it out. Tom, thanks again. Dave,
right.
I guess I'm going to count it out. Let's do it. We're out of here in 5. Hanger Rats forever. 3 you later. You're too good to be forgotten. We'll see you next time. And if Bobby K was here, he would say, rolling. All right. See you guys. Thanks so much.